Hi, I'm Patricia Tannis. Do you like Borderlands? You should like Borderlands. It's fun. Yeah, and I'm Mr. Torque, and you should go to Nero's Let's Plays and stuff, because there's a Let's Play of the Borderlands a pre-sequel over there. It's really fun, and there's also lots of explosions. Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have Borderlands, the pre-sequel. This game's finally out. Oh man, I've played so much of this game over the past few days, it's kind of absurd. So the gameplay you're watching is actually going to be from my Let's Play of the game, but here's a little fun fact. So this particular part of the stretch, we started recording Borderlands, the pre-sequel, myself and Toucan, and probably 4 hours in or so, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's not used to staying up that late because he has, a normal job and stuff. So it was 4 o'clock in the morning, he started getting very, 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 very tired. He started feeling sick because he's been up so late and he hadn't eaten, and yeah, it's kind of a thing. So I was going to cut out a lot of this. I was going to have to heavily edit down that episode. And so what I figured I would do is use a lot of stuff that I was going to edit out and just use it as the gameplay for this week's Dear Nero. So hopefully you guys all sit back, relax, and enjoy that. Pre-sequel, man. Lots and lots of fun. But welcome to this week's episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do my best to go ahead and answer them. This first question is going to come in from a guy named Bruce in Canada, and he's going to ask, how did you get into gaming? I think I know, but I just want to make sure. And that, of course, is from Bruce in Canada. So Bruce, I can't actually recall the exact moment I got into gaming. The earliest memory I have of gaming, so this is probably what I'm going to say is what got me into it, was I went over to my cousin's house way back when. Way back when. I must have been... Oh goodness, must have been 6, 7, something like that, I don't know. And he had a Sega Genesis, and he had Royal Rumble. I think it was just called WWF Royal Rumble, or it may have just been called Royal Rumble Wrestling, maybe, or something like that. Here, I'll put a picture over here on the screen. That is the game. That's the game right there. He had that game. We were both into wrestling at the time. I was really into wrestling growing up, which is why my name's Nero, in fact, if you guys don't know about that. Jeff Hardy was my favorite wrestler growing up, and his middle name is Nero, and I thought that was a cool name. So when I got my Xbox Live account, I made my name Nero. That's kind of how it always has been. But yeah, that was the first game I ever remember playing, and from then I ended up wanting to get a Sega Genesis, ended up eventually getting a Sega Genesis, and then from there I ended up getting a Game Boy Color, and then I also ended up getting a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, an Xbox 360, now an Xbox One, of course, my PC, and that's really kind of how it all started. But the earliest memory I have of gaming was playing my cousin's Sega Genesis over at his house, and we were just playing that Royal Rumble game. So yeah, that's my earliest memory of gaming. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I heard plenty of YouTubers saying that Call of Duty Ghost was a disappointment, and I agree. What are the things that you believe Infinity Ward did wrong which caused such an uproar within the community? What could Sledgehammer do to improve upon those mistakes? Malcolm from Maryland. So Malcolm, Call of Duty Ghost being a disappointment. I would say the changes that they made they turned me off the game personally. I've played a lot of Call of Duty in my time, but Call of Duty Ghost is my least played Call of Duty game. But I guess that's not really fair to compare though, because my least played Call of Duty game is nothing compared to other people, because on average I play Call of Duty games 20, 30 days worth of playtime, whereas on Ghost I think I put in 7 or 8 or something like that overall. Yeah, so it's definitely my least played, but 7 or 8 days worth of playtime is still probably more than what a lot of you have played. So I still played it quite a bit. One of the things that they did that kind of turned me off the game personally, maybe so I didn't really have that drive to play it nonstop all the time, was simple changes. I talked about these changes freaking before the game came out when I had the game early, man. I was talking about how they changed the UAV system. There's no UAV, and the simple fact there was no UAV and how that completely changed the game, I really didn't like the change that it made. So with no UAV, you really didn't have an idea of where the enemy team was at any given time, whereas in all Call of Duty games, going back to Call of Duty 4 when kill streaks were first implemented, you always knew where the enemy team was at. You call in a UAV, the other team knows where you're at, you know where they're at for the most part. I mean, sure, some of you are going to be using Ghost and stuff like that, or UAV Jammer as it was called, but for the most part, you're going to have a general idea of where the enemy team is at. But in Ghost, it wasn't there. It wasn't there, and there was just no UAV system. And since there was no UAV system, if you were to shoot your gun, you're going to show up on the minimap, you're going to get swarmed, because it's not very often we have people showing up on the minimap. So, not only do we not have a UAV, but we now have everybody using silencers nonstop to kind of combat the fact that if they shoot their gun, they show up on the minimap, that, everyone's going to start coming at them. So basically you have a game where it's I mean, the name Ghost worked out well for Call of Duty Ghost, because There's no UAV and everyone was using a silencer. That was basically the biggest thing for me. I just didn't enjoy it as much. Like if you look at like how I play like Black Ops 2, for example, my kill streaks are UAV, counter UAV, and orbital reset all the time. That's just what I use. I would use UAVs and Blackbirds in the original Black Ops. And Modern Warfare 3, for the most part, I would use something that involved the UAV. I'm like a recon player. Like I like to have recon, basically. I like to have reconnaissance. I like to know where the enemy team is at. I like having UAVs and stuff like that up. And the fact that it just wasn't one in the game really turned me off. And they're like, oh, take this SATCOM where you and a teammate have to work together to throw down a SATCOM at the same time to get the effects of a UAV. And even if you do that, chances are 3 to 6 people on the enemy team are going to be using the perk to make it so they don't show up on the SATCOM. It's like, well, this is just silly. This is pointless. That's the biggest thing for me. Aside from that, they really didn't change around a whole lot. I mean, they changed the minimap, which I personally didn't like the minimap like the traditional one better, but the minimap wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. Aside from the UAV, for me, there really wasn't anything overly wrong with the game. The kill streaks were good. They made it so you couldn't shoot down kill streaks. All the guns were really balanced, except for towards the beginning of the game where the MSVS was like ridiculously overpowered. But aside from that simple thing, that UAV, that's what like killed it off for me. Like I didn't really enjoy the game as much as any other Call of Duty game that's ever come out before it, just because there was no UAV in the game, really no recon system. So that for me is what happened. The entire uproar of the community, I don't know. I don't know why people hate it. Everyone says Ghost sucks, but they never really give reasons as to why Ghost sucks. They just say it sucks. And I can't give a reason why people wouldn't like it. For me, it's the UAV. If it's other people, then sure. But I don't actually ever see people complaining about the UAV besides me. So I don't know why there's such an uproar in the community of Ghost, because aside from the UAV system, it's a pretty good game. It's a standard Call of Duty game that's got actually some improvements on Black Ops 2 in some ways. So I don't know. I really don't know. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, Borderlands, the pre-sequel, just came out today. What do you think of it? Is it a good game or is it a disappointment? Will from Wisconsin. So Will, I like the game a lot. It's definitely a lot of fun. I was kind of skeptical, especially in the last pre-sequel video I did. I said I was kind of worried about it because the new trailer came out and we saw so many legendaries from Borderlands 2 in there. I was like, this kind of worries me. Are they just kind of like going to copy and paste all the guns from Borderlands 2 and put it into the pre-sequel? So how it's going to work? But so far, I've only seen a few like copy and paste, but they're not really big ones. Like there's different kinds of weapons, like the Doll Fox. I think the Doll makes Fox. I'm not sure, but it's a Doll Fox. It's just a standard submachine gun. The Fox is like it's a submachine gun in Borderlands 2, and it's in the pre-sequel. And it's not even anything special. It's a green gun. Like it's green rarity. It's not even that great. And you'll see that in boxes. But aside from that we've gotten a couple uniques so far, and all the uniques are completely different. They have different kinds of camos and stuff like that on them now. They perform differently. I like it. I haven't seen a legendary. I haven't like, gotten a legendary or anything like that so far, but it is pretty freaking awesome. I like all the changes they made. I like the new jumping system. I like everything about the game. It's actually very, very fun. I was kind of skeptical going into it, but it is very great. I love it. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, who should I use on Hearthstone? Keep up the amazing work, Alan from Vancouver. So Alan, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're a newer player to Hearthstone. You haven't really played it a whole lot. You're really just kind of trying to get your feet wet into the game. So the easiest deck to build is Zoo. You just do a Google searching. It's called Warlock Zoo deck. Just type that in. You're going to find it. There's a bunch of them, man. Basically, the point of the Zoo deck is a bunch of very common, low-cost minions that you just spam onto the board, then you rush down your opponent. Like, basically, just try and hit face the entire time. Just clear them all out, and just try and basically rush down and get a quick win. That's what Zoo's all about. A lot of people used to run it. They don't run it as much anymore, but then again, I haven't really played much this season. But the past couple of seasons, it's kind of the numbers of it start to dwindle down a little bit more. But yeah, Zoo is a very popular deck. It's very cheap. Like, you don't need any really fancy cards. It's mostly common cards that you probably already have already. So I suggest doing that, the Warlock, or you could possibly go with the Hunter. The Hunter is also another one of those decks. It performs pretty similar to Zoo, where you basically have a bunch of low-cost minions. Mostly they're beasts, and they kind of just work together. There's a bunch of different beast cards that work, like they synergize well with other beast cards and stuff. So you can try that out. Basically, Warlock number 1, Hunter number 2 if you're a new player. It's pretty easy to pick up both those classes. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, why do you never get invited to events where you can see what games are coming out, such as Call of Duty? Callum from the UK. So calendar, there's a couple different kinds of events. There are sponsored events where at times like your network or maybe just a sponsor in general will take you, like fly you out to an event and allow you to play the game early and get some footage of the game early. There's some people that were they got flown out to I think it was Los Angeles or maybe San Francisco, one of the two. They went out there and they were able to play Far Cry 4 early, and they were able to record some stuff like that and experience the game a little bit. They basically got flown out to do that. They probably get their hotels paid for and stuff. We were actually talking about this in my Skype chat. I don't think I would ever go in for that kind of thing, to be perfectly honest. I hate traveling. I do. I mean, my YouTube channel, it's growing. It's not giant, it's growing. I'm happy with my YouTube channel. I'm happy with where I'm at. And if I ever get on YouTube to a point where there are companies out there, like you see me do some videos with EA and stuff like that. If EA were to want to fly me out to Los Angeles for whatever reason to play the new Battlefield Hardline or something like that, and like, I don't know, record footage of it early and allow me to post that early footage onto my channel and stuff, and they were to pay me to do so, I still don't think I would do it, just because I don't like to travel. The idea of flying from Pennsylvania to Los Angeles sounds awful. I hate flying. I've flown once in my life. It was here in Pennsylvania. We went down to Pittsburgh Airport. God, I must have been 17 at the time or so. We we drove down from where I lived down to Pittsburgh. We flew from the Pittsburgh Airport. We're going to go to Tampa, Florida. And to do that, we had to go to the Cincinnati Airport, which is Cincinnati, Ohio. But funnily enough, the Cincinnati Airport is actually in Kentucky. And so we had to go there. And then we flew down to Atlanta, and then we flew into Tampa. So we had 3 stops or so on the way, and I just hated flying. Like, I really did. It's time consuming. I don't like the entire idea of being 30-something thousand feet in the air. I hate flying, and I hate traveling. You know, even something as simple as like going to PAX or something in Boston. For me, that's like an 8-hour drive. If I were to fly, it would be like an hour or two. But if I were to, I hate flying. So if I wanted to go to PAX, you know, I would like drive 8 hours. That sounds awful. Just to stay at a hotel room that's way overly priced because there's an event happening there, and stay there for 2 days and hang out with people I've never met before. It just, I don't know, the entire idea of going to events for me just doesn't entice me at all. It does not sound fun in the slightest, even if I was getting paid for it. That's how you guys know I'm not a sellout, by the way. Because even if I were getting paid, I don't want to go nowhere, man. I mean, the only time I think I would ever actually go to an event or go to some kind of gaming related thing is if it were in Cleveland or if it were in Pittsburgh. So I'm basically 2 hours from Pittsburgh. I'm basically 2 hours from Cleveland driving. So those are close enough that I can go there, do whatever, and be home that night or something like that. You know, it'd be pretty simple, but aside from that, I just don't like the idea of flying to events. And that and the stuff that you get, I mean, the whole point of like going to an event is to meet up with fans and have some fun like that and stuff, but it's just not that great for me to fly there. I don't want to fly there and stuff. And the other thing is, like, you should go there because you're going to get paid to do it. And it's like, well, I don't want to, so I guess I just won't get paid to do anything. So that's how I am. That's how I go with that. The stuff you get at events isn't really that great. You know, like, oh boy, you get to post the early gameplay of a game and stuff like that. But usually that early footage, there's usually, you know, hundreds of other people that have early footage, and people are stealing your early footage, uploading it to their channels, and it's like, it just seems like a bunch of work. So for me, going to events doesn't really seem worth it at all. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you think that Activision is holding back the full potential of Advanced Warfare by releasing it on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, and not only releasing it on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4? From Luke S. So, Luke, I'm going to go ahead and say no, they're not holding back Advanced Warfare. So, Advanced Warfare itself, maybe you didn't know, is actually being developed next-gen first. And what that means is Sledgehammer Games is working on the Xbox One version and the PlayStation 4 version. And then some other studio, which I forget the name of it, is going to port the game over to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. So, it's actually being developed next-gen first. So, that says to me it's going to be a next-gen title. It's going to feel next-gen. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff. We've already seen a lot of stuff. There's a lot of depth to this game that we've never seen in any Call of Duty game going, you know, all the way back. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen something where we can customize our kill streaks and, you know, change around like what they can do. We've never seen anything like the battle pack system. And there's a lot of stuff they're adding to the game that we've never seen in games before, which is going to be pretty cool. So I don't think they're holding it back. I am interested to see if there's going to be any differences at all between like the Xbox 360 version and the Xbox One version, for example, instead of just graphics. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, they're developing it next gen first. Whatever that means is what it means, I suppose. I suppose it's going to be a good game, and it's going to feel like a next-gen title, and that maybe the last-gen consoles like the PS3 and the Xbox 360, they may feel a bit different. Maybe the game will feel more limited. Maybe there will be some features that are available on next-gen consoles that won't be available on 7th-generation consoles. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait and find out. So I guess we'll get our answers here relatively soon. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out even before the game comes out. We'll see. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you drink Gamma Labs? If so, does it work? Nico from North Carolina. So Nico, I did used to drink a lot of Gamma Labs. So Gamma Labs, you guys will know, it's basically kind of like an energy drink, but it's more like a powder. So basically it's like comes in this powder form. It has a bunch of different kind of flavors and whatnot, and you kind of just put a bag of it or so in your water. You stir it up, and it kind of tastes like Kool-Aid in a way, but it also has a bunch of caffeine, a bunch of vitamins and stuff. And it's kind of like an energy drink for people that don't like the taste of energy drinks, and that's me. I hate the taste of Monster, Red Bull, or anything. I hate the taste of energy drinks, just do. But Gamma Labs tasted delicious. It tasted like Kool-Aid. So I did take Gamma Labs for a while because I also don't like coffee. And so I took that for a while to kind of like wake me up in the morning and stuff. And I was actually sponsored with Gamma Labs for a little bit. They sent me a bunch of free Gamma Labs stuff. They sent me a t-shirt, and I had like a promo code that you guys used on their website for a little bit as well. But that just never really went forward. And the reason it never went forward is because I just kind of stopped using it after a while. After a while, it's not that I got tired of Gamma Labs. It's not that I didn't think it worked, because it totally works and it works great. It just, I don't drink a lot of caffeine anymore. I mean, I used to take caffeine like all the time. Like I would like drink it, like I drink like 2 Gamma Labs a day or something like that. And before that, I was just drinking pop ridiculously. But I stopped drinking pop almost completely. I mean, I still do now and again, but I almost stopped drinking pop completely. And because of that, like I just kind of stopped needing caffeine. Like after you kind of weaned all that caffeine out of your system, I really don't need it to be awake. I don't need it to be alert. I don't need it to do anything. You know, I just don't need caffeine anymore. And so I just don't drink Gamma Labs. I mean, occasionally I'll drink like a Mountain Dew. Like Mountain Dew Game Fuel is delicious. I'll occasionally drink that just because it's good, and I'm getting double XP for it for Advanced Warfare. But aside from that, I really don't take any caffeine. Like I don't drink any of it, so I don't drink Gamma Labs anymore. But if to answer your question, Gamma Labs does work ridiculously well. It's basically coffee for people that don't like coffee. It's an energy drink for people that don't like the taste of energy drinks. It's delicious, it's good, and a lot of YouTubers are sponsored by them, and for good reason. It's a product that works. It's good. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you have any YouTube friends who are roughly the same size as you? Jordan from Scotland. So Jordan, I don't. Well, I guess I do, but I don't know. I guess we're more acquaintances at this point. Mr. Boss for the Win and I used to be pretty good YouTube friends. We would do a bunch of videos together and stuff, but I don't know. We used to run completely separate channels now. Like he does like all GTA stuff now, like GTA 5. He's blown up. He's bigger than me now, but I'm not too far behind, I suppose. Mr. Boss for the Wins. I still consider him to be a friend of mine. I just haven't talked to him in a very long time. He's a little bit bigger than me, but aside from that, like the people that I consider like my friends, like, you know, it's kind of like high school in a way, you know. Like I'm cool with people. That sounds weird. I guess I'm cool with a lot of YouTubers and stuff, you know. But I wouldn't consider them to be my friends. In the same way, I'm sure like those of you guys that are in high school or can remember high school, you have like a core group of friends that like you're actual friends with. Like you hang out with these people every day, you talk to these people every day. These guys are your friends, but you're also like you're not enemies with anyone else. Like out there in your high school, like if you were to go ahead and talk to somebody, you know they would talk back to you, and you guys would be acquaintances. That's how I am with a lot of YouTubers. The people that I consider to be like my friends, like I'm in a Skype chat with them every day. We play games with them every day. There's Wildcat, and then there's people like my brother, and there's Zach, and there's of course Toucan, and there's Alan, and there's Foxy and Gigs and all them. And these are people I've been playing with for years now. They all have YouTube channels. Wildcat, of course, is up there in the millions, and then the rest of my friends, they're all in the under 1,000 subscriber group. Like they've all posted stuff on their YouTube channels and stuff, but they never end up doing anything with it. They basically just stop posting. They realize it's not that easy to grow on YouTube, so they just play games and stuff. They don't really post to YouTube. And then there's me, wherever I am now, 250,000 subscribers. Then there's Wildcat up there in the millions. So it's basically no subscribers, me, and then millions of subscribers that are in my little group of friends. So I don't have anyone the same size as me. And a lot of people say that too. They're like, you should work with people that are about the same size as you on YouTube. People that they're about the same channel size. You guys do collaborations and stuff together, and it can help the two of you grow. I've never experienced that, although I can't deny that would work. You look at what other YouTube channels have done. They get a group of friends going together, and they're known for being within that group of friends. People love to watch that group of friends of people play together. But I just never had that. I never had that kind of, I don't know, support, I guess, with any friends that are like the same size that we could grow together. When you see me playing, like doing games and stuff like that with friends, it's just me and my friend playing video games. It's not because they have a big YouTube channel. It's not because they have a small YouTube channel. It's just because that's my friend and we like to play video games together, and we figured we would have the two of us on the gameplay rather than just the one of us. That's what you see on Nero's Let's Plays. Like Borderlands 2, I played that with so many different friends. Like my Let's Play was like random. Like every episode, you never knew who was going to be in it. Sometimes it was going to be me, Vicious, and Foxhound. Other times it was going to be me and my brother and Nick. You never really know who he's going to be with. So it's just me and my friends playing video games. That's what Nero's Let's Plays is really about. Toucan, especially, you see him quite a bit. a lot of my Let's Play videos, and that's because he does work, like he has a full-time job, but he sometimes he doesn't get, like sometimes he has days off, like his job is different in that, like some days he has days off, some days he has to be there for a double shift. It's one of those deals with a job where he gets his 40 hours a week, but sometimes he doesn't have to work one day, but he has a double shift the next day. It's kind of random, and because of that, like if he doesn't have to work like the next day or something like that, me and him could stay up to 5 in the morning recording a Let's Play or something like that. Whereas everyone else, they have like a normal job, or they have like high school to go to and stuff like that. So I guess Nick is really convenient in that regard. But yeah, I don't have any YouTube friends that are roughly the same size as me now. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, so Borderlands pre-sequel is coming out. Me and 3 of my friends have decided which characters we all wanted to be, and we would all play a co-op campaign with each other. The thing is, only myself and one of my other friends will be able to play the majority of the time, and the other 2 will not be able to play that frequently. So my question is, do I suck it up and only play whenever the 4 of us are on, or start up a campaign with my other friend who is frequently on, with a chance to hurt my other 2 friends' feelings? Thanks, keep up the awesome videos, from Grayson. So Grayson, I had that exact same problem, and I'm going to show you how I figured it out. So how I'm doing this, I had the exact same situation. So like I said in the last question, Toucan, or Nick, he can record a lot of the time, and so for that, he's in the playthrough, like the Let's Play of Borderlands, a pre-sequel with me, right? And then the rest of my friends, they also have the game, they also have it on PC, but they all have like stuff to do, like work and school and stuff, so they're all basically kind of playing at their own leisure. Like Zach, my brother, they're both playing together, and they're both basically trying to level up together, and if one person can't be on, that's fine. They'll just catch up or something like that, and they're all just basically going to get themselves up to level 30 and beat the game. That's what we're doing. We're going to get ourselves up to like level 30. We're going to beat the game on the original playthrough, like the normal playthrough. And then after that, I think I'm not going to be recording any more of it. I think that's basically going to be the end of the Let's Play version. I'm going to make a ton of pre-sequel videos, but in terms of like the actual Let's Play, I'm not sure if I'm going to post a true Vault Hunter mode. So basically, it's going to be me and Nick. We're going to beat the game originally, get up all the way up to like level 30 and beat the game originally. And then at level 30, we're just going to start playing with all of the rest of my friends, because they're also going to be up to level 30 and whatnot. And at that point, it'll be easier, because then we'll all have already beaten the game before, and now we'll be able to just go really, really slow with it. We'll all play together. We'll have all the side quests and do all the side quests together, as well as the story quests in true Vault Hunter mode. So my suggestion is, you and your friend that can play a lot, you guys should beat the game, and then your other friends, they should try and beat the game on their own time as well. And then maybe wait for them, like at level 30. Like once you get to level 30 and beat the game, maybe wait for them a little bit. Instead of like going to true Vault Hunter mode and doing that kind of stuff, maybe just slow down, maybe go do some side quests, or just explore the world a little bit while you give them time to catch up. And then once they catch up, then you guys can go ahead and do true Vault Hunter mode together. So that's what we're doing. Damn, it's annoying, right? When you want to do a campaign story-based game with like 4 people like that, it can be a pain, because everyone has their own schedules, everyone has their own things to do. It can be definitely a pain in the ass, but that's what I'm doing, and I suggest you do it too. Next and final question, he's gonna write, Dear Nero, do you think Call of Duty is an actual quote-unquote skill game? Personally, I think it's quite incompetent, especially seeing how the definition of skill is a certain trait which would help you in life. Thanks for reading, Andy Rule, Roman from Michigan. So Roman, I don't know where you got your definitions from, because when I Google the definition of skill, the first thing that pops up is the ability to do something well. And I think that's a pretty accurate definition of skill. I think Call of Duty is a skill-based game. I think every game is a skill-based game, because that's exactly what it is. Skill is the ability to do something well. Regardless of what it is, if you can do it well, that is a quote-unquote skill of yours. You think of Call of Duty, be able to read the minimap, have an idea of how the traffic is flowing, know where the spawn points are at, know whether or not it's a good idea to hop on the flag at this moment, having gun skill, being able to outgun people, being able to acquire good kill streaks, being able to win the majority of your matches. Those are all things that translate into skill for me. And the same thing goes for any video game ever. So, I mean, anything is skill-based. Anything is honestly skill-based. You think of the most simple thing, like Pac-Man took skill. Like, there's people that are good at Pac-Man, there's people that weren't as good at Pac-Man, and that's because that person has more skill at Pac-Man than them. Skill is one of those words that can be thrown around. It can be thrown around to literally everything, because it's just one of those things that can be defined. It can be put on literally everything. Skill is just, can you do something well? Are you good at something? If someone is better than you at something, they have more skill than you at anything. That's how it works. That's what skill means. So Call of Duty is a skill-based game. Some people say, oh, Call of Duty takes no skill, Halo takes more skill. It's like, no, they take different kinds of skill. Being good at Call of Duty, the things you have to do to be good at Call of Duty are completely different than what you need to do to be good at Halo. And the same thing goes for like Gears of War or Destiny or Borderlands. Like, you can suck at Borderlands. Even like co-op games, or even single player games, you can suck at those. You might not be that good, and then you can get better, and then you'll improve your skill at that game. That's just how it works. That's what it is. Call of Duty is a skill game. Every game is a skill game. Literally everything. Like, you think of the most simple, basic thing in the world. Flappy Bird was a skill game. Poker is a skill game. I'm trying to think of really basic stuff. Monopoly is a skill game. Tetris, skill game. Basically, dude, everything is a skill game. If you follow the definition I'm kind of giving it, the definition of the ability to do something well, I say anything is a skill-based game. Now, you could argue, until you're just completely out of breath and just red in the face that Halo takes more skill than Call of Duty, but I'll still always say that it takes a different kind of skill. Somebody that's amazing at Halo, being good at Halo does not transition to being good at Call of Duty. And being good at Call of Duty does not transition to being good at Halo. And that works for just about most games. You can kind of draw any parallel you want there. It's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. Skill can be thrown upon literally everything. That's why I feel about skill and the definition of skill. And I don't mind throwing the word skill around because it literally can be applied to anything. I could be better than you at, God, what am I going to? I don't know, spamming the trigger on my Xbox One controller or something like that. I can be better at that. I can shoot faster, and because of that, that's a skill. I don't know. Skill can be used for anything. So, yeah, I think Call of Duty is a skill game, as well as every video game ever is a skill game. And that is this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. If you guys would like to send in your guys' questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. Well, I guess I shouldn't say simply, because it's confusing for a lot of people. So if you want to send a message on YouTube, you need to go to my YouTube channel. It's NerosCinema. And once you're there, you need to go to the About tab. And once you're there, you should find a Send Message button if you scroll down. Now, if you're doing this on a mobile device, like you're watching these videos or you're using YouTube via a tablet or a phone, I've heard from people that use YouTube on their tablets or their phones that apparently the Send Message button isn't there if you go to the About button. So apparently you have to be using an actual computer to send a message now. I really don't know. It's very confusing. Well, either way, that's how you send a message. I hope you guys will enjoy this episode of Dear Nero. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.